do you believe that only those of the bloodline are entitled to salvation?
Yes. Yes.
So here we are, we doing the commentary. This is going to touch on salvation. A lot of y'all don't even realize that y'all worship people. You won't just upfront say, hey, I worship XYZ, but you will show it in your behavior. You're going to see this person in a video, and just by default, a lot of y'all will just, oh, he's right. A lot of y'all don't know right from wrong. Y'all think right from wrong comes from people instead of the book. But on the subject of salvation, you have a question and then you have an answer. Let's see if the answer is actually in response to the question.
So yeah, I agree with what you're saying. Do you believe that only those of the bloodline are entitled to salvation?
Yes. Yes. That's what the Bible say. The Bible say you're making a new covenant with the house of Israel, the house of Judah. It ain't say you're making a new covenant with nobody else.
So as you heard, the question was about salvation.
Do you believe that only those of the bloodline are entitled to salvation?
Yes. Yes.
But the response was about the covenants.
The Bible say you're making a new covenant with the house of Israel, the house of Judah. It ain't say you're making a new covenant with nobody else.
So does the response actually answer the question? No. You see, the covenants is one thing. Salvation is a completely different topic. You see, the covenants is exclusive to Israel. And I think this is where the confusion for some people may come in, like the brother in the video. The covenants is for Israel. The book says that through and through. But then when you touch on salvation, salvation is not exclusive to the covenants. So when you say, only Israelites can be saved, that's incorrect. Is the covenants only for Israel? Well, yeah, that would be correct. Salvation is literally for everybody, because you're going to see as he elaborates, he's going to contradict himself. Remember, he said out of his mouth that salvation is only for Israel. Watch the contradiction.
So it's almost like in Revelations 22, there's a scripture that says, and the nations that are saved, right? It uses that word saved verbatim. It says, I'm gonna grab it for you real fast so you can understand. So in Revelation, hold on, we're gonna turn that spell around. So in Revelations, where you at? 21 and 24, it says, and the nations of them which are saved shall walk in the light of it, and the kings of the earth do bring their glory and honor into it. So now the Christians will say, see, that's the other nations. They don't understand that Revelations 21 and 24 is echoing Isaiah the 60th chapter. In Isaiah the 60th chapter, when you start at verse 11, therefore thy gates shall be open continually, they shall not be shut day nor night, that men may bring unto thee the forces of the Gentiles, and that their kings may be brought. For the nation and kingdom that will not serve thee shall perish. Yea, those nations shall be utterly wasted. So there's like when you save something, you can save something to eat later, and you can save something as an antique. The one that's being saved as an antique is something that you want to save because it has value. The sandwich that you're saving that you're going to eat later, it got value, but you're going to eat the sandwich, it's going to be gone. So just because the word saved is used, there's a context. So the saved that the other nations are going to be saved for is servitude. What Israel is going to be saved for is rulership.
So if the book of Revelation chapter 22 says that the nations outside of Israel are saved, then your original statement when you said only Israel can be saved is wrong.
Do you believe that only those of the bloodline are entitled to salvation?
Yes. Yes.
If you literally see the nations being saved. Now, does the nation's salvation have anything to do with the covenants? Hell no, because that part is only for Israel. We need to learn the difference. Salvation is not exclusive, meaning only pertaining to the covenants. You have salvation outside of the covenants. And that's where, I mean, if it's a nation that's not prophesied to be, doomed, completely consumed, then that's the context. Context means everything. Then, of course, you're going to have nations serving Israel. Israel's going to have its salvation from the nations first, and then those nations will have their salvation having nothing to do with the covenants after Israel's salvation. It's disingenuous to say salvation is exclusive to the covenants, therefore it's exclusive to the nation of Israel. That's not Bible, that's camp. The very book that you're going to contradicts what you originally said.
So it's almost like in Revelations 22, there's a scripture that says, and the nations that are saved, right? It uses that word saved verbatim.
So that sandwich example he gave is not a good example, but nonetheless, again, the beginning contradicts the latter part. You lead with only Israel can be saved, but then you finish with the nations are going to be saved to serve Israel. That is a contradiction. We need to be, if you call yourself a teacher or anything of the sort, we need to be clear with what we say, because we could easily be teaching wrong. To say only Israel can be saved is wrong. The covenants only pertain to Israel is the correct way to put this. All right. He mentioned Christians. I don't give a damn what a Christian says, because Christians really don't even use the Bible. But we need to teach. We should be I'm gonna say they should be teaching that salvation and the covenants are two different things. The covenants pertain to Israel and in Israel's salvation from the nations. And then there's the nation's salvation, which has nothing to do with the covenants. Because when you read Revelations 22 and Isaiah, the two that are connecting in that context, you see the nations being saved, but you don't read anything about the covenants. Think about it. They're saved, but it has nothing to do with the covenants. Again, I don't care what a camp says. I don't care what a Christian says. I read what the book says. But then when you're looking at Israel's salvation, that's exclusive to the covenants. You don't see any nation outside of Israel connected to the covenants, because that is a promise only to Israel. You have to pay attention. Again, I know y'all just worship people and rock with what they say, but they may be wrong. That's why y'all need to be reading and be a witness for things yourself. What is the point of having 2 or 3 to be a witness when y'all just rock with what your favorite person says? What is the point of that? He said this, he's just right. That's man worship. This is just something to think about. I know a lot of y'all will make this to be like I'm attacking this dude. I give a damn about nothing. This is about the words coming out of his mouth. The video is a witness to that. What he's talking about. I don't give a damn about him, the group. Not to say I don't care, like to wish bad will upon him, but I just don't. It has nothing to do with him, is my point. So y'all need to be reading and thinking and focusing. Y'all need some focus. But
See, that's why we're so divided now as a people, because we don't have focus. Why don't you just sit down somewhere and focus?
that's all I have for now, as it is written, and I'm out.